You send the message. And then you wait. And in that silence, your brain gets to work. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they saw it and didn't care. Maybe something is wrong. Maybe everything is wrong. By the time they reply, 3 minutes later, with a perfectly normal response, you have already lived through 12 different versions of disaster. You didn't choose to do that. It just happened, and it happens to almost every human being on Earth. So why can't you stop imagining the worst? The answer isn't anxiety. It isn't weakness. It isn't a flaw in your character. The answer is that your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do, and it is doing it brilliantly. The problem is that it was built for a world that no longer exists. Cast your mind back, not decades, not centuries, thousands of years. Your ancestors lived in small bands of 20 to 50 people. They moved across open landscapes where predators were real, where a bad decision didn't mean an awkward conversation. It meant death. Food could disappear without warning. Alliances could collapse overnight. A single misjudgment could end a bloodline. In that world, the person who imagined the worst and prepared for it survived. The person who assumed everything would be fine often didn't make it to morning. This is what the evolutionary biologist Randolph Nesse calls the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector is calibrated to be oversensitive. It would rather scream at burnt toast 1,000 times than miss a single real fire. Your brain works the same way. It would rather flood you with catastrophic thinking 10,000 times than fail to catch the one scenario that actually kills you. The cost of false alarms is low. The cost of missing a real threat is everything. So your brain never evolved to be accurate. It evolved to be safe. Neuroscientists call the structure responsible for this the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep in the center of your skull. It doesn't think. It reacts. It is constantly scanning the environment, and the moment it detects any signal that could be dangerous, a strange tone in someone's voice, an unusual silence, an unanswered message, it fires. It sends a chemical cascade through your body before your conscious mind has had a chance to evaluate the situation at all. You don't decide to catastrophize. The decision is made for you, in a fraction of a second, by a system that is hundreds of millions of years old. Daniel Kahneman, the psychologist and Nobel laureate, described this as System 1 thinking, fast, automatic, emotional, operating below the threshold of conscious awareness. It is the oldest software running on your hardware, and it is always running. The specific shape of worst-case thinking has a name too. Psychologists call it negativity bias, the tendency of the human brain to give bad information more weight, more processing time, and more emotional power than neutral or positive information. A single harsh criticism lands harder than 5 genuine compliments. A single moment of danger feels more real than 100 moments of safety. This is not irrational. This is deeply, precisely rational, for the environment your brain was shaped in. In a study conducted by Roy Baumeister and his colleagues, researchers found that bad events, bad feedback, and bad emotions have a stronger and longer-lasting effect on the brain than equally intense good ones. Their term for it was blunt. Bad is stronger than good. Not because you are broken, because your ancestors, who paid more attention to bad things, left more descendants than the ones who didn't. Every single human alive today is descended from worriers. Think about what that means. You are not inheriting a malfunction. You are inheriting a survival strategy so effective that it propagated across hundreds of thousands of years and landed, intact, inside your skull. But here is where it gets strange. The brain that evolved to track predators on the savannah cannot tell the difference between a lion and a text message. It registers social threat and physical threat through overlapping neural systems. Being ignored by someone you care about activates some of the same circuits as physical pain. Being excluded from a group triggers a fear response that, in your ancestors' time, was completely warranted, because exclusion from the group meant death. This is why a delayed reply feels like more than just a delayed reply. Your brain is not being dramatic. It is running an ancient calculation and delivering its result. Something might be wrong. Prepare. The problem isn't the calculation. The problem is that the calculation never turns off. Psychologists call the chronic version of this catastrophic thinking a cognitive pattern where the mind habitually jumps to the worst possible outcome of any uncertain situation. It tends to spiral. One bad thought links to another, which links to another, until you,